Greetings, Earthlings. You are watching Truth, Love, Healing. My name is Kevin. This is my channel where I like to talk about spiritual stuff, namely truth, love, and healing. Go figure. This video is really important, very important lesson I'd like to share. It's something I have a lot of experience with on my path, so I could speak with a little bit of authority. I'm not just making this up or reading it out of a book. And it's about navigating the space of consciousness, because within you is heaven and hell, the demonic and the angelic. It is within you. There is no duality. Consciousness is an infinite spectrum. And it's like an electromagnetic field in which we are like tiny iron metal shavings within that field. And we gravitate to one end of the spectrum or the other based on our charge. Our charge is based on the energies we feed, the energies that we welcome, even if we're not consciously really aware of it. Maybe we're being weak and we're just overwhelmed, but you're welcoming it. You got to be present on this path. The demonic, as we'll call it, has been documented and spoken of by many people. We see it in the world all the time. You know, the serial killers, all the different forms it takes in the world. We've seen it. You know it. There's a difference between someone who maybe is a little angry or made a mistake and the demonic. You know, you recognize it. So recognize it within yourself. Be very aware of your weaknesses, because my teacher called it that which does not want to see you succeed, which I believe is a really good way to articulate it, as opposed to calling it the demonic or demons, the devil, you know, and it could be called all those things accurately. But when you call it those things, it tends to become an otherness, you know, a being, something of that nature. It's much more primal than that. And I think it's accurately described as spirits. You know, the Buddha when he sat for his final run towards enlightenment, he spoke of being attacked by Mara and her daughters, which is, you know, the same thing as Christ talking about when he was tempted by Satan in the desert. If they went through it, rest assured you're going to go through it. You know, if they weren't above it, neither are you. This is just the nature of the infinite spectrum of consciousness. And as you choose to evolve, as you evolve more and more, those spirits, particularly the dark spirits, they want to take you down. Its nature is to take down, to destroy the beautiful, to do it just for the glee of it. And we've seen it again manifest in the human, like the Taliban, who blew up the ancient Buddha statues, just, you know, out of the spite of it in some religious pseudo justification. That's the demonic in action. And it's, again, manifest everywhere. You've seen it. Now, within yourself, the thing to be aware of, again, is your weaknesses. Because that which does not want to see you succeed knows you, knows your weaknesses, and it's very, very skilled at what it does in taking you down. These spirits, these entities, have been around for eons of time, and again, documented throughout history. You could write it off as some fable or myth or whatever. I'm telling you from experience, it ain't no damn myth. It's facts. So whatever it is within you, your traumas, that's why it's so important to know yourself, know your weaknesses, and start healing those things. Healing comes first, because if you get ahead of the healing, you are setting yourself up for an epic fall, and many have fallen as well. So again, don't think you're beyond it. You're not. I promise you that. Now, as you go along the path, you know, you'll be in a, let's just say you're in a place of strength, and the demonic's not going to come necessarily with some overt, hey, kill that person or whatever it is, because you're in a place of peace and so on and so forth. But it will be a subtle attack. Your defenses will be worn down through other more subtle ways that you won't have as strong of a defense against, you know, and it comes in really strong through entertainment. You know, you watch pornography, you watch murder and mayhem on television, you allow certain energies into your life that start feeding certain aspects of your inner soil. And it's like boiling the frog. Before you know it, you're in deep doo-doo. Because the discipline was lacking, because the presence and awareness was lacking, because maybe you're so holy that you would never think about killing someone, but you do have anger, you do have judgment, you do have traumas within yourself that are unresolved that will allow anger about certain things, judgments about certain things. Those things start growing roots, and before you know it, you got a tree growing in there. And discipline is so important on this path. Be present at all times. Never, ever put your guard down. And when you get to certain spaces, the energies will really go for you. They really will. I'm telling you. And it'll come for you in the perfect way. The way that you just could not resist. The way that you could not deny. The chocolate cake that you cannot say no to. And I liken it to being, if you walk in the frozen tundra and you are freezing. I mean, you're so cold that you're hurting. And all you want is warmth. All you want is anything to end that freezingness. And then all of a sudden, you see a fire and it's warm. But what you're not perceiving is the fumes of that fire are poison. And because you're so overwhelmed with the freezingness, you go for the warmth, not even really caring necessarily if the fumes are poison, because you're just so blinded by your freezingness. It's the same thing within your consciousness. A lot of times these things come through loneliness. We're all humans. We all yearn for love. And sometimes we get so lonely that energies get to brewing. There's an old saying, what is it? The idle mind is the playground of the devil. Yes. And it might be a very toxic relationship that comes into your life, but because you're so lonely, you don't recognize, you don't acknowledge and heed the red flags, and you allow this person into your life, and usually, in short order, your life becomes a lot of hell and chaos and more pain. And sometimes people even lose it and commit suicide because they didn't tend to that trauma, that loneliness, and because of the loneliness, they allowed the toxic poison into their life. And that little metaphor could be flipped 1,000 different ways. I'm hoping you're getting the point. You must be vigilant when the real attacks come. Your defenses have been weakened enough through subtle ways, through little angers, little lusts, little titillations. And I love that word, titillation. It's so awesome. But when your weaknesses have been sufficiently attacked enough, then comes the real attack. And you could get shredded. You can get shredded. And many spiritual teachers have fallen who were once at a real respectable level of consciousness. But because of those unresolved things, usually it's in the form of lust, where they have the power, the absolute power over others, and the naivete of the seeker who just wants to believe and wants to follow. And the teacher takes advantage of that, and they fall horrendously. And it's not uncommon. And so be ready for that. Take it seriously. The proverbial war in heaven is within you. And you battle that. First thing is when you really get attacked. And it's fairly obvious. Usually it's lust or anger or grief, guilt, all those energies. When those come really strong, you must rebuke it. And I know that sounds old-fashioned and maybe a little religiousness, but it's a fact. When those energies come, rebuke in the name of Christ or whatever your holy figure is. In the name of God, rebuke. Because to not rebuke it is to allow it. And before you know it, you are in it and you are in trouble. Because you didn't take the stance, because you sat there with your guard down, you're now in a world of shit, period. And it's all within us to constantly feed the positive, feed the love, feed the truth. Choose that. Choose God always. And God is not the lust, pride, guilt, shame. Those energies, that's not what you are. That's not of God. That's not of heaven. So when those feelings come up, and they come up very subtly, particularly guilt, which we tend to choose as a somewhat pseudo holiness, that I'm so holy, I feel bad about XYZ, or I resent this, I resent that, because there's a lot of self-righteousness. Be so present about those things, and it's okay if those feelings are there. We're human. It's consciousness. It's infinite. Those feelings will arise, but it's on you how much you allow it and how much you feed it. Let it be. Don't resist. Christ said, resist not evil, but choose truth and choose love and choose healing. Yeah, that's a great way to end the video. So stand vigilant, stand vigilant, stand vigilant. Be on guard. Protect yourself. Don't let any minor thing go, because they're not minor. It's the small things that become big things. All it takes is one crack in the dam to break down the whole damn thing. So I hope this resonates. I hope I made some sense. This is a subject that means a lot to me because I've experienced it, and we all experience it, and I see it a lot. And sometimes all it takes is a little light to be shown upon it, to recognize that, hey, this is not me. This is not of God. I choose God. I choose love. I choose truth. So please never forget these words. And again, if you find any of this helpful, if any of this resonates, please like, share, subscribe, comment, tell a friend. I'm trying to grow this channel organically. Don't really want to get promotion-y with it. So your help is helpful, and I really appreciate it. Peace, chicken grease. God bless America. God bless the world. God bless you. Amen.